Awesome morning. Are we live? Yeah. Awesome morning. Wonderful afternoon. Magnificent evening. And it's Carla from MindPlore with Carla and Friends. We had some issue and I'm not exactly sure what happened and I can't figure it out. So we're just going to proceed with what I see now and get it shared out that way. We're talking about love and whether we should be loving ourselves first or should we be loving others first. I want to hear what these ladies and wonderful gentlemen have to say. And we are going to begin the conversation now. Shivali, we're going back to you. And what is your feeling on this topic? And you also know me.
As I was saying, that love is something which is inborn, and it is also the foundation of the entire creation. And I feel God has created this wonderful world for us. It is His love for us, right? He's given us everything. So the concept of gratitude is also coming in. But coming back to our topic for today, self-love versus loving others, since it is already in our DNA, it's a universal emotion. All human beings, all living entities, whether birds, animals, even plants, understand what is love, right? So, love is something which is there. But the question now is that which is more important or what comes first? Actually, most of the time in our systems, you know, our values that are ingrained in us or the kind of things that are taught to us, most of us have been brought up, at least I have been brought up with this notion of serving others, loving others, helping others, you know and self-love is something which I learned as a term. If I look at the term itself, what is self-love, it never existed in my consciousness. At least consciously I never knew about it. But the day I was told that no, it's so important to love yourself, I realized that loving oneself is even more important, because loving oneself means you're accepting yourself the way you are, right? And when you love yourself, there's a sense of great joy also. And then you can reach out to others also. Now, and someone might say that, no, what about if someone is loving others? It's okay. There could be people, I have done it in my own life, always thought about others, even felt a sense of guilt or shame. You are made to feel that, oh my God, was I selfish in thinking about myself? And so people might say, no, first you have to think about others. But in the long run, I felt from my own experience that somewhere down the line, I started to feel unhappy, not because I was helping or loving someone, but I also wanted love. But then I realized that it is my own state of mind. I have not bothered to nurture myself. I have not even considered it that what is self-love. So nurturing self is very important because it is also about vibrations. It is also about frequency. It is the inner world and the outer world. They are co-connected, they are interconnected, I would say. So what reflects within me automatically begins to reflect in the outside world also. So compassion for oneself is more important because therein lies the key to unlocking, the means of showing compassion, showing love for others. And others means all living entities, not just human beings.
Okay. Jeff, do you want to add something to that?
Absolutely. So, just to continue on to the conversation, the question really is: it possible to love someone else without loving yourself? Um, I think part of that answer comes with time. I think that when we're young, as people, most likely we are love, and not everyone gets this, but often, but not often enough, kids are loved by their parents or loved by their guardian, or there's affection that's showed toward them. And over time, we learn to share outward affection to others as well. And if you were to look up, defining even what love is, from an intense feeling of deep affection or a great interest or pleasure in something, and it's a noun, it's a verb, and really it could really be a state of being. What we don't learn necessarily growing up, at least not in where I grew up, is the idea of self-love. Self-love is something which has come into my vernacular in the last 25 years, rather than the first 25 or so years. And so to allow ourselves to love others, unbounded, is something which we do. For those of you who have pets, for example, I think if you have, whether it's a puppy, it's a turtle, it's a cat, it's something in your life, I don't think you go halfway in on loving. You either love or you don't. And I'm not saying not to love. I'm just saying that you don't partially love an animal or sibling. When you're growing up, you're all in, right? You, particularly because you don't know better, and particularly because that's what we do, at least that's what some of us do. And the idea of self-love, it comes into life when you have a little bit of experiences where you learn to give of yourself to yourself so that you can give to others as well. So I would say that when you have a certain level of awareness, it's almost impossible to love someone else without loving yourself, because you really, you will be about your love. It's not that you're faking it. It's more like you're just, it's not as deep as one thinks. So I think I'm frozen. Am I frozen? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So from my perspective, it's a very relative thing, because when we give of ourselves, we give from ourselves energetically, out of that vibration, energy, and frequency that was spoken about. And we give without caring necessarily, because we just give of ourselves, and it's a truthful, honest experience. And there are sacrifices we make for love. There are many things we do for love. And how we love has been characterized by poetry, by music, by stories for centuries. And I believe that as we get older in our existence here on this planet, we learn to love ourselves so that we can have the energy and strength to share with others as well. And I'm not talking about egotistical love. I'm not talking about love which is making you a megalomaniac, or where you're loving yourself at the expense of anyone else. Or I'm talking about loving yourself so you give yourself a chance to breathe, to be present, to connect, to share and engage with others. And that type of love that helps you reset, opens your mind and your space to be present for so many more people, that if we don't allow ourselves the time to breathe, the time to be, it becomes very hard to be anyone, including someone who's sharing and giving love. So from my perspective, it's love is all you need. It helps a lot to learn to love yourself when you're caring for and giving to others. I think you're muted.
Carla, we can't hear you.
Okay, just quickly, Basham was having some internet issues, so I'm letting my ban of people being late off for the moment. We're talking about love. Take off your headphones. I think that's the problem because there's some noise in your background on your, yeah, I don't know what it is, but if when you begin speaking, it's there. We'll
And
need,
now it's okay.
now it's better. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Rubina, what do you
Okay.
know about it?
I love what Shivali and Jeff talked about when Shivali said that God has created this universe out of love. It is so true. And yes, it is true that it's in our DNA. And we are by birth, it's by birth we are tuned into it. But as we talked about earlier, also that it's an emotion and it carries energy. And Jeff was talking about like in the earlier age, we are like we are grown up in an environment where we have been told that if not been told like it's we get this experience that we have to love others first, we have to put others first and ourselves later on. Um, I want to talk about love being an energy, and I was thinking that why I have to think about giving it. If it's an energy and I'm carrying it in my heart, I don't have to think about giving it. I'm carrying it with me, with myself, wherever I will go. That energy is with me, and people around me, nature around me, animals, everybody can feel it and can get connected to it, to that energy. I don't even have to, and it does not, it's like beyond borders and boundaries, it can be felt. It does not need to be spoken or to be like, I don't have to even to tell in words like, I love you, I love you. I don't have to. If I love my mother, I don't have to tell her every day that I love you. And same with my mother. I can feel her love beyond boundaries and beyond borders, and from a far distance, I can feel it, and she can feel it the same way. So it's an energy, and if we carry it, we cannot fake it, no. But then we can see that these days people are so, at least in I have experienced, people are trying to fake it. People try to fake they care for others. They try to fake that they love others when they are not actually, and they try to fake their interpersonal skills, and you can feel it for a while. They can fake it. They can they like Carla the other day, she was saying that people they met her the first time and they're like, oh, I love you, Carla, so much. And Carla said that, I was like, well, how can you say that in the first meeting? We just met and you're telling me that you love me. You don't even know me well. So if it's fake, you cannot, it means that energy is not there. That love is not there actually. There's nothing, that positive energy, that powerful energy of love is not there. And you can, after a while, you can feel that it's not there. It's everything is fake. And if it is there, if you love yourself enough, you have it, you are carrying enough of it, people around you, animals, nature, everything, everybody around you feel it, and they automatically get connected to it. You don't have to show it off. You don't have to do anything to you don't have to tell it. Even I believe that you don't have to say it in words again and again. People, things, everything, animals, they get connected to you and they can feel it, and you can feel it actually. Um, uh, it kind of it reciprocates so that yeah, the love is a powerful, is the most powerful emotion, and it carries energy. And we have to learn to, I just learned it, I'm learning it, I just started learning it like 1 maybe 2 years ago, that about self-love. It is something, before that I wasn't even aware of it. And you have to live for yourself first, and not getting selfish. No, you, if you will love yourself enough, only then you will be able to give care to others, to give to your love to others. And it's same as when we travel by plane, and someone else was mentioning it, and it was in my mind too, that it's been, we have been given those instructions in case of emergency, that first you have to put that oxygen mask on your face, and then only you'll be able to save the people sitting next to you. So you have to love yourself first to get connected with that energy, with the other people around you, and to give your love to them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Basham, do you feel you can talk on the topic now?
Yes, can I speak now?
Yes.
First of all, I apologize for being late because we have a terrible connection issues here in Pakistan, somewhere. So I totally agree with Rubina. We have totally different like definitions of love in East and West. So what I understand from what we mean, the Eastern people, what we mean by love is being in a state of love. It's not something that we can give, or it's just being in a state. Carla, can you hear me well?
Yes.
So I totally agree with Rubina. She's telling the Eastern meaning of love. So it starts from your very inner self. It's like you are transmitting it all the time when you are in that state. So it's like if you feel like if you have a kind of nuclear core inside your heart, and it's just vibrating all the time. So it's impossible, I think, like if you don't have that inside, you cannot fake it for a long time. That's true. Like when you start loving yourself, you start caring your body. This is what we have learned. Like this body is like an avatar from the universe. You have to take care of it, of your health first, your spirit. And after that, when you are complete, the love overflows from you. Like when something is filled, like when a glass of water is filled, it will overflow. Love can overflow only. For that, it have to be filled first inside you. So I see like there's no other like this house. It starts like this way. First you have to love yourself first, and then you don't have to care about anything. All the universe will enjoy it from you.
So if love is what you just said, it's love and emotion, or is it really our very existence that has allowed us to be able to live on the planet? Who would like to answer that question or start the conversation going?
Carla, it's like in the Eastern philosophies, they tell that there are only two things that a human can feel in his core: is love or fear. That's it. You can be in love or you can be in fear. So the love that comes from spirit, if your spirit is alive, you are in a state of love. If your spirit is dead, you are in a state of fear. So ego, the greed, anything that you don't want for yourself, like all these things, they come from fear, Carla. So it's not emotion actually. It's a state of existence. It's a state of existence. Like these two states we human beings can be. So when you are totally in love, you are fearless. That's it. If you are fearful and you think you are in love, no, you're not. So it's something bigger than emotion.
Okay, what do you think, Rubina? I see a smile on your face.
In a way, Basham is whatever he's saying is right, that it's why he's saying that it's bigger than an emotion. Actually, it's an emotion, but it's the most powerful emotion. in this universe. And the other day, remember, I mentioned that book I was reading. I want to mention it again. It's on NDE experience, near death experience, written by a neurosurgeon in US, and he wrote about his experience about afterlife, because he went into a coma, and whatever his soul experienced while during that phase when he was in coma, and his soul was as if was traveling all around the universe or maybe heavens, and whatever he felt, he wrote in that book. And I read some other ND experiences too, where people they are not complete dead. Their soul, their body is just in this world, and their soul is out up in heavens or somewhere, traveling the whole universe. So everybody, all those people who experienced it, they whatever they mentioned is the essence of it is that God has created this universe out of love, on the principle of love. And that's what I extracted from that book or that reading too. And that life is created on the foundation of it's the foundation of life is actually love, and love is the essence of life. So in a way he is right that it's but it is an emotion, but the most powerful emotion and the most powerful energy, and there is no instrument it's been we have that to the measure the energy, the what we can say that how far this energy can be measured, but I feel that there is no limit to it. It can travel far without distance. So in that way, and it has vibrations and frequency, and one can feel far from that person, where no matter where that person is and no matter where the other person is, there's no need to tell, no words are needed to express it. It can be felt, and your heart can feel it, as we all know that feelings and emotions are the language of the heart. If your heart is open, it has enough self-love. Again, if it is not blocked or it is not sealed, it is opened and it has enough self-love, then it can feel anyone's love who is far from that person, because it's an energy, and it's the most powerful energy on this universe, on this earth. So in a way, yes, he is right. And if you have enough, you have it in abundance. You don't have to give it. You are just you are living your life, and people they will get it. They will get it from you. They connect to you with your energy, their energy, and they can. But for to get it from other people and for others, it's very important to have an open heart. If you are too much like these days, we can see that with too much machines, and we human beings are getting into this mode of being like robotic lives. We are more robots now than human beings, less emotions and less feelings. And so if we move more towards our core, like which is our soul, if we get connected to it, then only we can feel it, and it applies to other people too. If I'm carrying it, only those people who are more connected to their souls will be able to feel it. Otherwise, it'll be difficult. If I'm not get connected to my soul, it will be difficult for me to feel from others, to get it from others, to get connected to others who are carrying it. It'll be difficult for me to get, I don't have that energy,
Rubina,
I have to have that energy of love to get connected to others.
Rubina, it's a panel discussion, but thank you for what you're saying.
I'm sorry, I was taking too much time.
I don't necessarily agree with you completely. We're born out of love, no matter what. Our breathing is part of our existence. There's a very well-known teacher, Sri Ravi Shankar, who often says love is not an emotion. It's not something that we feel. It's the state of our existence. And yet we often say, I can't love myself because that's ego. And that's what we're debating or discussing now. Is love an emotion, or is it for ourselves, even loving and taking care of ourselves? Isn't that more important sometimes than being there for everyone in the world? Because if our cup is not overfilled, how can your cup give to someone else? Jeff, you look like you have something on your mind, and then I want to go to Shivali because she always has something good to say about this type.
Well, first of all, I just want to mention that love has some very special attributes. That love is infinite, and it travels through infinity, and that you're able to. Love is such a strong power that we can look at images from across our lives, across our history, and feel connected emotions to it immediately. That we could hear a song that we haven't heard in 47 years and cry or laugh. We can read a book that was written 300 years ago or thousands of years ago and connect to the words that were written and shared, because when they're written in a loving, meaningful way, there's an affinity associated with the words and the space between. That love knows no boundaries, so that words that you write today can be experienced hundreds, if not thousands of years from now by others who may never know you or know of you. But if you write in a means that raises the vibration and energy around you, that it is captured and reflected in how it's received, whether it's in real time or not in real time. If you're in the flow of the moment, it is incredibly powerful. It's also incredibly powerful to be moved by someone who you've never met, but whose words, light is reflected upon you receiving, no matter when it was set. Like, for example, behind me is a photograph I took of the Milky Way galaxy. When I was sitting under the light from the galaxy, from the Milky Way, there was light that literally was 1 billion years old. It came to me at the same moment that from light that was 3 minutes old. That sitting under the galaxy, under the Milky Way, you're experiencing light, biblical light, ancient biblical light that appears at the same time. And if at the end of each light point is a point of love, the point is that we could be showered all the time in magical ancient love together with our present love. And so to answer the question about self-love, part of having a loving practice is to allow yourself to breathe, to be present, and to give yourself access to all the tools needed to serve. And part of that, in fact, is to love yourself, is to accept that your power is in the moment that you're in, and to give yourself the strength to deal with almost anything is to let yourself breathe when you need to breathe, pause when you need to pause, and be present. And so it is possible to give of yourself without self-love, but you will be ineffective and most likely drained. You know, we're talking about giving from the heart and giving of ourselves. And I believe the more we learn the more we know how to give of ourselves, better serve ourselves, it can be amplified dramatically, geometrically when we serve others. And that if we forget to love ourselves, it's like dehydrating ourselves unintentionally. That you may need we will pass out and have physical reactions if there's not enough electrolytes and water in our lives. And you probably don't intentionally starve yourself, but if you want to serve effectively, you will find a balance between a positive practice for yourself that allows for self-love and allows yourself to give as much as you can when you want to, when it's needed, because this is part of how we're here, is to help others be better and to serve others and really to help raise the vibration of what we do. So Carla, I do believe that while we can love others and give pure love and share it with others without knowingly loving ourselves, we are so much more efficient and effective when we also find that balance to allow ourselves to love who we are, accept us for who we are, to let go of any fear, uncertainty, and doubt of ourselves, and to say, I love myself today. I'm here to serve, and I'm here to give.
Okay, Shivali.
Okay. Now, while I was listening
Your
to all of
smile
you,
is gone. Are you okay?
no, I got lost completely. I was thinking of what you said. Then Rubina saying, Jeff, it's
Oh,
something which was taking me at a very different level. So I was listening. Yes, the smile has gone because I think I got externally cut off. And I was
okay.
like listening. So,
Fine, just
uh,
making sure.
see, we have used certain words right now. It's like you took, this quote of Sri Ravi Shankar, where you mentioned, he says, it's our essential being. Earlier, we were speaking about DNA, and somewhere we have used words like experience, and Jeff just now was mentioning something about learning. So, what it made me think, like coming back to the topic of self love versus loving others, you see, the original consciousness is pure love, pure bliss, you know, the original. Here we are talking about, when you're talking about God or the creation, whatever we wish to say, in whatever way we want to express, we are talking about our original consciousness. But the point is, the moment we are taking on these bodies, we seem to get disconnected or forget that state of being. So our life becomes a learning process, so therefore, there is a choice that we are making. So if I didn't know what is self-love, and one day someone taught me or something triggered, and I realized that there's something called self-love. It's a learning that has taken place. It reminds me in bits and pieces of my original consciousness that everything is based on pure love. There is no place for selfishness in the original consciousness. So if I'm talking about self love, or whether I'm talking that no, I will not love myself, I will love someone else, it's a conscious decision that I'm taking. And this is essential for my learning and to experience love. So even though it's there in my DNA, somehow, due to the conditioning of my life or the conditioning of my environment, my whatever I'm imbibing from my values, somehow that original consciousness gets clouded, but it's not lost. That is why we turn to meditation. That is why we turn to breath control. That is why we turn to music to give us reminder of the divinity which lies within us and our original consciousness. So then, if that happens, that time self-love and loving others happens simultaneously. There is no difference. The difference is only till we are consciously not able to make that choice or understand or experience it or learn it.
Do you think love is something you learn? Or is it something that
Sometimes we do.
actually, or is it something that actually exists? And it
It exists.
exists to create the whole world. I'm
It
not
exists.
sure that we can call it an emotion. I'm sorry.
No, I understand. As I said, this is a topic where a lot of things will come. You see, our original consciousness is pure love. We are born with it, it is there, it exists. But due to our conditioning, you see, as souls, we are pure. Each one of us is pure. We are just balls of energy. If you believe in this, if you don't believe in it, I mean, if anyone doesn't believe in it, that's a different thing. But then, what, like just now, Rubina mentioned about that book. Many people don't believe in life after death, they don't believe in reincarnations. So it's not always about what I'm believing, it's about what I'm experiencing. I allow myself to experience self love. That's how I learned self love. I know my original being is pure love, but I've forgotten it. I'm not conscious about it. The people around me are not giving me those kind of values. But somewhere down the line, when I begin to make that inward journey, when I begin to question myself, I realize that why was all this controversy or this this conflict all about? Because I am supposed to love myself, because it's a choice. It's a choice. I am pure love, and those around me are also a symbolic of that. So for me, there should not be any distinction. But that's what human beings are all about. We cannot be perfect,
Is
but we are
it,
learning.
I'm sorry, is it human beings? Or is it it's because we think so much. We think, oh, should I like this person or should I not like this person? Should I follow this person's thinking? My friend doesn't like it, but I like it. Instead of
Yes,
following the vibration that we actually are, instead of being who we actually are. Jeff, this is a good topic for you.
I think the essence of what we're saying in different words is the same, right? That where there's no disagreement about where love is, or we can find different ways to define love. We could find different ways that love's meaningful to us, and there's there is divine love, right? The absolute love, where under no conditions, unconditional love, which we spoke about last week in MindPlore, and I would defer to some. Because when you're speaking, Carla, I'm hearing multiple conversations in my mind, both what's said now, plus I'm reflecting upon what was said before, and I'm pulling the pieces together and processing it together. So those who watch the show and really are interested in the topic about love and self-love and unconditional love, I would strongly suggest to take a look at the replays on YouTube, because there's a lot of detailed, meaningful information, heartfelt, that's shared. And so if I could make the assumption, then when we speak of love here, it's unconditional, that it is being given either to us or from us to others, that we're allowing under all conditions to in fact love. And yes, I think we all can, at least those who are here now, present on this planet, there are times when we may give love and doesn't not receive back, but that's not self-love. That's just sharing love or sharing an appreciation or an acknowledgement to someone who's meaningful to you. There are times in our lives when someone, I learned it most recently when a friend of mine suddenly passed away, where he was in the wrong place at the wrong time and died as a result of a car crashing into a restaurant, and he was sitting in the restaurant. And I never had a chance to tell him I loved him other than at his funeral, which was a little bit late. And so I've learned to say I love you when I'm feeling it in the moment presence. And I will say I love me, but never out loud to myself, to remind myself to take the time. Because there are times when I feel guilty that if I want to have a self-love practice, not that I'm afraid so much of appearing being selfish, but there are times when I forget to do the things for me that I need to do for me. And so I've learned as I've gotten older to make time for me as much as I make time for someone else. I put myself in my own calendar and I say, this is Jeff time. And I engage in activities that I'm passionate about that gives me a real charge. And I found that a practice of that type of self-love for me gives me the strength and the ability to give much more than just going and giving without taking anything from me. So, and it's not so much I need 3 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Sometimes it could be an hour of doing energy work. It could be 15 minutes of looking into the night sky. Sometimes it's just catching a sunrise, the glimpse of the light coming through the clouds, or looking up at sunset and the awe of of the majestic sky that's there and the colors and how beautiful it is. That to me is symbolic of self-love, to take the time to stop what you're doing, to go outside and look up. And when I can, I look to night skies to find the stars. And during sunrise and sunset, I look up and just experience the magic that's being painted in front of us. To catch a rainbow, or maybe it's a flock of birds flying in formation. Everyone has different things that are very symbolic and very meaningful. And when you learn to take the time for yourself with no excuses, to breathe and be you, that to me is how I define self-love. It's not that we couldn't have a yoga practice, that we couldn't have a meditation practice, that we couldn't radiate upon certain known things, but to allow ourselves to be present in our own life, to find time to share and to give, and remember who we are, that we matter too. Finding that balance over time is something that we learn. I don't believe it's something that we're taught as much. We can find teachers to teach us. Each of us here could teach others. But when you finally understand that you can find the time for you to be, that you can give yourself unconditional love too. And then what happens is that we're creating light that's being reflected back into the world, and collectively raising the consciousness, raising the vibration and energy of this world to where I hope we can get to would be a better place, a more accepting place, in a place where love is unbounded as much as the light around us. I hope that helps, Carla.
Okay, with what you are saying, it does answer the question. But to me, loving oneself as loving Rubina or loving you or loving Shivali or Basham is as intimate as loving the breath that I breathe, because we are all connected. We forget that. Someone may say, oh, Basham, you're from Pakistan, and I've heard all Pakistanis are criminals. I can't love you. But we're forgetting the essence of life. I know it was not meant to be a political statement at all. But if we go to the essence of life, love is there just in that breath. It isn't anywhere else. So why do we see each other as separate from one another? Why don't we accept that we are all together on this ship called Earth, revolving around the sun? Help me understand that. And why don't we love ourselves? Shivali.
Because we've lost our original consciousness, in the sense that it's not really lost, it's covered. And what Carla was mentioning a little while earlier, while Jeff was also speaking, a mind plays havoc with us. Too much of logic. Too much of logic. Why is it that a child, when a small child is capable of giving so much of love? Because the logical mind, that conditioning has not taken place yet. And if I have to love myself or to love someone, I love because I love. I don't need a reason for it. This reasoning with love, should I love? Should I not love? So is this love enough? This is all coming over because of this mind of ours. So that is why we turn to all kinds of things, as I was saying, to give us gentle nudges. As Jeff was saying, I can relate to it completely. Just looking at a tree or finding some birds or a breeze suddenly blowing, the rainbow suddenly appearing. Why does it change me? Why do I feel so much of love for myself and for the world around me? Something happened in that moment. It actually nudged me and reminded me of my original consciousness, which is pure love. That is why I said that it's a learning process. We are learning or should I say that realization comes, the realization suddenly dawns, a breeze touches my face, and I feel absolutely rejuvenated. I have no logic behind it. So I think this is what I was trying to say a little earlier, that original state is that pure consciousness, it is love. And this is there in all living entities, trees, birds, animals. And this last thing that Carla mentioned about that, why is it that then we don't, why are we judging others? It is again because of the same reasons. It's because of our values that are being put around us. It is the way we are being given different perspectives. And then what are these perspectives? These perceptions and perspectives are based on the experience of others. They are not even based on our own experiences. So, as in one of the shows we had said, change your experience, you change your perceptions. When your perceptions are changed, your consciousness is changing. When your consciousness is changing, the realization is coming. So everything appears pure bliss, love. Nothing else exists that time. And that is what we experience during our meditations, during our prayers, and during our, when we are watching even a music concert. That's what we are experiencing. And then we really, if we can kind of pursue it further, then I think we can become better human beings also, better living entities, and realize then ultimately that we have come here in this beautiful created world with a certain purpose, and that purpose is to serve God. And to serve God, we need to do it with love for ourselves and for the others. Because God has created me, so I'm supposed to love myself. I must value this body He has given me. So it's my gratitude to God in loving myself. If I am not keeping well, I'm supposed to take care of my health. I'm supposed to nurture myself because this body has been given to me by God as a covering for my soul. Likewise, I have to think for others also as a soul, as a living entity. So there's no place for hatred. It's gone.
What do you think, Rubina?
So I think that you're talking about why we are not able to do it sometimes, because we, as a child, in the first 7 years of our childhood, we programmed, our subconscious mind is programmed in a way. Otherwise, like Shivali said, that we are born with it. It's in our DNA. We are born to love ourselves and to love others. But our subconscious mind is programmed in a way that because of the people, events, whatever happening around us, that we forget it. We have to learn it again. We have to reprogram our subconscious mind. And when we do these things like meditation, yoga, these practices, and whatever Jeff mentioned, whatever soothes our souls, whatever, it's different for everybody. What we actually do by doing these things, we are trying to learn, we are trying to reprogram our subconscious mind, because at the end, our soul is needed to be nurtured from love. It cannot be nurtured from hatred or from those negative emotions or energies. So we try to get it back, what we were not we are not conditioned to during our childhood. So I think we all need to learn how to reprogram our subconscious minds to love ourselves, and obviously, in that way, we can be able to give to others too.
Okay, Basham, I want to try to bring you in, but the static was really bad for a little while.
Yes, Carla, you can ask me.
The part of your issue, you don't have any earphones on, right?
No, I have it. Yeah. So can you hear me now?
Take them off, like I told you yesterday, because
Oh,
that is part of the problem.
that's the only thing that we can communicate, Carla. So right now, if I
Right
move it,
now,
then
it's very good, and you do not have your earphones in. It works better without earplugs. Trust me, I know what I'm talking to. Talk.
Can you hear me now, Carla? It's okay now?
Yes. Yes, I have no reason to tell you yes unless It's true.
Is better now?
Yes.
Great.
So what do you want to say about love and in defining love for yourself, or does love for others come first?
Carla, first of all, I will disagree at some points with Shivali that she said God
Fine.
created us, and all these things, I believe, like, I don't believe. I see the universe, I have not seen God yet. I see the universe, that's it, you know. So universe did not told us to love. It told us to fight too, Like sometimes when you're in survival mode, you have to kill sometimes. The survival instinct. That time there's no place for love. There's no place to be in state of love. So this universe is somehow a cruel place sometimes. You understand what I'm saying, Carl? Maybe you understand.
Keep going.
So, like, at this moment, I'm just confused. Like, these things are so meaningless for me if I'm in a survival mode. Like if I'm sitting in the mountains from where my ancestors used to live. These things are so meaningful, so meaningless. So love as an emotion that can be felt by only us, the human beings. Like Rubina said, it's an emotion, it's not something bigger than that. The emotions can be felt by humans like us. A dog cannot feel your emotion. A plant, when you're in state of love, even the plants, they can feel better with you. They give a better yield sometimes. So right now, I'm clueless what we are talking about. I'm sorry, Carla.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. Jeff, you're muted.
So I'm just listening. I'm just increasing my knowledge right now.
So
that's fine.
Look, I just think that I think we're more or less saying the same thing, or at least we're converging on a common theme, Carla, about love. And you could probably, many books have been written about what love is, and to use it to objectify it and say that can we love others without loving ourselves, makes the assumption that we're old enough to understand what even that means. Because I do believe that you see kids sacrificing themselves, that we see throughout life, people are giving of themselves at a super young age, and under duress, under very hardship conditions, you see kids giving of themselves to their family members and to their world in ways which are inconceivable due to situations. So it's not just being an adult reflecting back and understanding your importance, but the fact is that people are unique, and I still believe we all have superpowers, and that sometimes we see the light in young people as much as you see them in older people, and that with that enlightenment, we're able to do things that we never otherwise would think was possible. All we have to do is allow ourselves to believe. And if you can connect believe, and love together, you can do almost anything. You can change the world if you'll believe you can. If you allow yourself the possibility to love someone and love yourself, everything becomes possible. And that as long as you could stay on the positive side of the light and away from the darkness. And yes, I understand lots of us have dark, but if you could find that light for hope and amplify that, magic will happen. And so I thank you for inviting me to be here today, Carla. I'm grateful to meet new friends and to listen to people's voices from all over the world, because no matter where we're from, love is one of those rare things that is universal. that no matter where you are, whether you're an astronaut in space, you're planted feet on the ground here on Earth, or you're in a submarine below the ocean, love is love is love. And that with that, everything else in the world gets to be a better place when we embrace in a love, positive environment.
Thank you. And when you say being from all over the world, you and I are from USA. Rubina is originally from Pakistan, but in Canada. Shivali is from India. And then we have Pakistan here. So we have all these different thoughts on what love is from around the world, and not just from one country.
Yes.
What I find is so cool about Zoom and what the pandemic did to us, it brought the world close together. And we are finding that we are loving more and more people because we are communicating with more and more people every day around the world. And with that, I want to thank these two ladies, Shivali and Rubina, for being here, Jeff for coming, Basham for being here, because without you, MindPlore would not exist. And if you find an interest, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Giggle Fest University, where MindPlore has a home, as well as the English show and my interviews. And it would be wonderful to have you see all the content that's there. And with that, we are going to wave goodbye. Can everyone wave goodbye? That's my signature. Okay, and we are going off